Dear friends of diversified investing, today I will show you another way of making money with Bitcoin that is very effective when the price of Bitcoin falls. But before we're getting started, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor and this video is meant to be for educational purposes only. Always do your own research. But now let's get back to the topic. Today I'm talking about a so-called Bitcoin Inverse ETF. A Bitcoin Inverse ETF is a special type of investment fund that allows you to make money when the price of Bitcoin decreases. That's why it's called inverse. And a Bitcoin Inverse ETF works by investing in Bitcoin futures rather than investing in Bitcoin directly. You can imagine a Bitcoin future like this. Imagine you're with a friend and you think that the price of Bitcoin will decrease and your friend thinks the price of Bitcoin will increase in the future. You make an agreement and let's say the price of Bitcoin is at 43,000 at the moment. You make an agreement to sell your friend the Bitcoin at 43,000 in the future. Now let's say the price of Bitcoin decreases to 37,000. This would still leave you the right to sell Bitcoin at 43,000 to your friend, which will lead you with a $6,000 profit plus of course the upfront investment that you gain when making the contract. This in simple words is how the ETF makes profits, and that's also how the price increases or decreases of the ETF. Well, if this sounds interesting to you, you may ask yourself, no, but who offers a Bitcoin Inverse ETF? Well, there's an Inverse ETF that is publicly traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange that is called Beta Pro Bitcoin Inverse ETF. It's traded with the ticker BITI. It's traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange and can be traded like any other type of investment on the capital market. But before jumping to conclusion about whether to invest or not, there are a couple of things that you should take into consideration, especially regarding the near time, as there are a lot of upcoming events that you have to evaluate. And in your case, if you're interested in the Bitcoin Inverse ETF, you have to look for events that could trigger a decrease in the Bitcoin price, as this is where you make profits. Well, there are a lot of upcoming events that can have a major impact on the Bitcoin price. One of the events, for example, is the massive ETF launch of Bitcoin ETFs that is just around the corner, as the deadline for the first ETF to be either accepted or declined is on January 10th. While this is only one ETF, some experts think that either all ETFs will be approved or declined on the same date to not give any other party an advantage. Well, if you look at the ETF and if it would be approved, of course, this would mean that there's a lot of more money coming into Bitcoin. And this means that the price of Bitcoin will go up, especially in the long term. Also, another event that can be really exciting is the Bitcoin halving. The Bitcoin halving is in April 2024, so it's not that far away actually. And when looking at the Bitcoin halving, historically, it always meant that the price of Bitcoin will go to the moon, as right after the Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin usually reached its all-time highs, as there was a lot of hype that was triggered by the Bitcoin halving. As with Bitcoin halving, the mining rewards are cut into halves, which means that it's less profitable for people in crypto, let it be the miners. The miners are the ones who create the Bitcoins. There are less incentives for them to mine Bitcoin. This means there are less Bitcoins in the market, and this means, therefore, that the price of Bitcoin will go up. Also, another thing that is very important is the momentum Bitcoin has at the moment. While year 2022 was very weak for Bitcoin, year 2023 was very strong, and the momentum seems to carry on to the year 2024, with the price of Bitcoin still steadily increasing. And for me personally, I value momentum a lot, as the momentum can determine a price to increase and decrease. And with the upcoming events, it could boost the price of Bitcoin even more. Now finally, would I invest in the Bitcoin Inverse ETF? Yes or no? Me personally, I will not invest in the Bitcoin Inverse ETF, as the upcoming events, the ETFs, or the Bitcoin halving, for me, are positive price indicators for Bitcoin. The ETFs will mean that there will be a lot more money coming into Bitcoin. And while some people argue that it may not have a big effect, I think it will have a big effect on Bitcoin, especially tending more towards the time at the Bitcoin halving. Also looking at the Bitcoin halving, I could see another big hype. Also finally, there's still, when looking at the global financial market, there's still a lot of uncertainty at the moment. And during times of uncertainty, usually investors or institutions tend to invest in gold or Bitcoin, as those are stores of value. And those stores of value are great in times of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And of course, they are great in times of course, high inflation or other times of crisis. So, do you agree, or do you think that the Bitcoin is overhyped at the moment? Let me know. I will see you in the next video.